Hello and welcome to my podcast, Up Your Total Glow, your podcast for your body, mind, and soul to support, guide, and empower you to uncover your most glowing, healthiest, and feel good version of you. I am super excited that you are here because if you ask me, there's nothing that looks and feels better. In today's episode, I'm speaking with the absolutely amazing June Edward. June is a relationship expert, psychic medium, speaker, teacher, and best-selling author. In this interview, June speaks about her journey of shutting off her psychic abilities at a very young age, then dying at the age of 27, which, by the way, she fully predicted. Deciding to come back into her body, and all of this fully opened up her psychic abilities again. She shares about going through a karmic relationship, divorce, and why she is so passionate about empowering others to thrive in good relationships. In this interview, June speaks about her latest book, All's Fair in Love and Karma, and about her amazing relationship mastery program. If you would like to uplift your relationships, including the ones with yourself, then this podcast is a total must listen for you. Please enjoy. Hello and welcome, beautiful June. I am beyond excited to have you here today and to dive into a beautiful conversation. So to start off, could you please introduce yourself and tell me and my audience a little bit about yourself? What do you do and why do you do what you do?
Sure. So my name is June Edward. I am a relationship expert, an author, and a psychic medium. And I died at the age of 27. I came back here by choice. And it's kind of like asking a priest, why are you a priest? When you're supposed to be doing something, the universe makes sure you're doing it.
Wow, what an introduction. Okay, so you died at 27 and then came back by choice. Can you go a little bit deeper into this? Because I feel this is unusual to say the least.
Yeah, it was unusual for me too. So I had injured my back when I was 22, shortly after I was married, and they wanted to operate on me, and I was pregnant at the time, so I obviously had to wait until I delivered the baby and was in bed for 3 or 4 months for the end of the pregnancy. And then I just knew that if I went in for the surgery, I was going to die. So I put it off as long as I could. I put it off for 5 years, and I was told if I wanted to have any more children, then I had to have the surgery or they're going to be picking pieces of my disc out of my back. So again, I knew I was going to die. I told everyone around me that I just knew I was going to die, and tried to make some kind of an arrangement. And they're like, "Oh, you're scared. It'll be fine." I'm like, I know. I'm just telling you, I know. And that's your soul when you have that knowing. And sure enough, the night before the surgery, they do an MRI test with a contrast dye to find out exactly where the injury is. And I told them before they did it that I thought I was allergic to the dye. I had had it once before, and I had a very bad reaction. I couldn't get off the table for hours. And they told me that was normal. It happens to everybody. I'm like, okay, what do I know? Yeah. So as soon as they injected me with the dye, I died. And I'd never heard the term NDE, near-death experience, and I never thought it was that because I knew I died. Apparently, the scientists have coined that term because they haven't been able to quantify it yet, but when they do, they'll change it to a death experience. And what I learned was that less than 10% of the people that have an NDE make it to the level that I made it to, which I've now learned is the fifth dimension, which is the lowest level of heaven. And I had a full life review. And that's also very rare.
Wow.
And, it's like sitting in the front row of an IMAX theater and watching all the important things in your life go by, the people that you loved, the important times in your life. And I'd had a very difficult life up to that point. And I've since learned that it was an out that I had written in my plan that I could have taken. And that's what I heard from behind me, that it was not my time, but I could stay if I wanted to, or I could go back. It was my choice.
Hmm.
And it was a difficult decision because it's just so amazing on the other side. You take with you all your knowledge and all of your emotion, all your feelings. So for me, it was just overwhelming love, which is the highest frequency of all. It was just incredible. And then I remembered my children, and that was my biggest joy and purpose for being here. And as soon as I decided I was coming back, I was immediately back in my body.
Hmm. Wow.
Pretty incredible.
And when you came back into your body, can you describe this a little bit for us? So were there straight away pain, or how did that feel?
Quite honestly, I was pretty stunned still,
Mm.
It took me a long time to really process what happened. It was just,
Mhm.
it's so over and above anything that you are ever used to happening.
Mm.
It's just beyond belief, basically. And for me, I was raised in a lot of different religions and, never adhered to any of them. I knew that there was a higher, whatever you want to call it, there's only one source energy, God, Buddha, Krishna, whatever you want to call it, there's only one. And I always knew there was a higher power, but I didn't believe in saints and angels and all this stuff. I just thought that was all a bunch of hooey, made up stories. And no, they're all very, very real. Every religion is right and every religion is wrong. And as long as they're teaching love and coming together to help each other, then they're on the right path at that point. Um, but yeah, when I came back, I was just, I saw everything that was happening to my body as well as everything else going on around the hospital while it was happening. And, they came in with the crash cart and injected the line and did the paddles and nothing was working. They tipped the bed up and he was slapping me in the face, telling me they can't lose me. I didn't feel a thing because I wasn't there.
Mm.
And finally I guess they were giving up. I don't know, because they had put the bed back straight. And then I came back into my body and, they were like, the doctor was very relieved. I found out after he was a resident and he said to me that I'm very lucky that it was the end of his month of doing these tests. Because it had been the beginning of his month, he wouldn't have known what was happening. And that would have been it.
Mm.
And I didn't tell him that it was my choice to come back. I
Mm.
didn't say anything. I was just dumbfounded, quite honestly.
Wow, that is such an such a powerful and empowering journey of yours. And looking back at it, can you, so obviously you thought of your children, you remembered your children, and this is why you came back. But do you feel there was a higher purpose as, oh, that sounds wrong. Obviously, your
I
children
didn't.
are one of your higher purposes, but
Yeah.
was there another higher purpose or not?
At Obviously there was,
Yeah,
because we make the plan and they
yeah,
knew. And when I look back at it now, I laugh, and I laugh at them when I'm talking with them on the other side. I'm like, you guys knew I was coming back. Who are you kidding?
yeah, yeah,
You had all this laid out for me. You knew I was coming back. And
yeah.
I wonder if that's not why they showed me my life review of all the wonderful things to try to entice me to say I want to come back. I often wonder if they did that for that reason. But at the time I had no idea. I was just, for me, it was for my children. And I hadn't even had my third child yet.
And do you feel your life changed from then on
It
drastically,
didn't.
or
No, not
no?
at all. No, it did not. It wasn't something I was able to talk about for a long time because I would just get so emotional talking about it and remembering it, all those feelings coming back. It was just overwhelming.
Mm.
But no, I still had a lot of my journey that I needed to take so that I'm able to do the work that I do. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. and my abilities opened up again when they were supposed to open up. You can't
Mm.
force anything in your life. It happens
So,
when it's supposed to.
so very true. And sometimes so very frustrating at the same time. So very
Well,
beautiful.
one of our lessons in life, our soul lesson, is patience. Everything happens at the perfect time, the time that we planned it and the time that it's supposed to happen.
Mm. So I would love to dive a little bit deeper into your journey. So what happened then? Because you said, you kind of said that you weren't ready then, but it sounds like something else
It
was
was
coming up.
years. It was
Mm.
25 years. I had my third child. I got divorced. I got into a second marriage, which was a karmic marriage, and taught me a lot about life, business, me, what I wanted, my own self-worth, and unconditional love as well. It taught me a lot of my soul lessons. And towards the end of that marriage was when I was basically losing everything I'd worked my whole life for. I was losing all my businesses, going through the divorce. My mom was dying. And I went to have some Reiki done just to relax. And she recommended that I meditate. And I'm like, there's no way I can meditate. I'm running 5 businesses, taking care of my mom, and, going through a divorce. So I tried it. And meditation is cumulative, just so everyone knows. The first time I meditated, it was like they kicked the door into the other side. She's ready. And my abilities opened up 1,000 times stronger than when I was a child. And I could not turn it off again. And it was very frightening. It was very frightening. So I would just, in a panic, calling everybody I could find, and in all the magazines and everything, asking them, who do I go to see? How do I turn this off? How do I make it stop? I'm waking up in the morning with 20 souls around my bed. Anybody that comes to me for my work, I know everything there is to know about them. I'm seeing, full figured apparitions walking around again. I'm like, how do I make it stop?
Wow. So a few questions. Number one, can you explain what do you mean by karmic relationship? I'm just not sure if all of my
Sure.
listeners understand. And then when you remember back now, do you remember that actually as a child you had these gifts already and then forgot, or didn't quite believe in
So
them because you were told, oh, you're making this up?
So we'll start with that one first, then we'll go into the relationship.
Yeah.
So I had the abilities from a child. I came from a very dysfunctional family, 8 children, broken home, very abusive. My mom was apparently a medium, and I did not know that. My dad kidnapped the youngest 5 of us when I was 10 and just told us that she was crazy and threw us out. That was not the case. My youngest memory of seeing anything was when I was about 3 years old, and I thought I heard someone calling my name. I got out of bed thinking it's my parents, and they're fast asleep. Went back into my room and started seeing faces in the room. Pulled the covers over my face, and the sun came up, and I started seeing the shadows of them like up against my face. It was very, very frightening.
Hmm.
And I would start seeing people around the house and things, and I just assumed everybody saw them, but I try to avoid the situations. And as I got older, I knew what was going to happen before it happened, and I would tell classmates in school and quickly got labeled as the freak, so I stopped doing that real quick. But I was a nervous wreck. I was biting my nails, and I had nervous tics, and I would stutter because, it was scary as a child. And when I was 10 years old and, we were kidnapped and taken away, my job was to do the dishes at night. And there was a woman that would keep me company about the age of 45 or so. And I enjoyed the company. I didn't know anybody. So one night I asked my older brother who she was. I just assumed everybody saw her. And he started laughing and telling me that it was the woman that used to live in the house. Her husband killed her and threw her down the basement stairs. So it scared me so much that she must have felt it as well. She never came back. And then I tried to just block my abilities as much as I could. You know, when someone died, they would still come through to me, even if they were just an acquaintance or knew someone in the family, and I would let them know that so and so died. And they'd be like, "Oh no, we just saw him yesterday." Sure enough, they'd find out I was right. So after my near-death experience, I was more interested again in finding out. So I would go on haunted vacations. I'd go to the Queen Mary and stay on that, the Wally House, Alcatraz Prison, all the famous places across the United States I would go to, because I was intrigued. And I was starting to see the orbs again, but I wasn't seeing the full figured apparitions yet. I was seeing the energy still.
Mm.
Um, and I wasn't hearing the voices. I was trying to catch them on, catch EVPs and things like that. I was just really curious. And then as soon as I meditated, that was it. It was just blown out big time. And like I said, I had to get training to learn how to turn it off, because you can't stay on all day long and all night long. You'll just go crazy.
Mm.
I still see them when I'm not working, but they're not allowed to interact with me unless it's an emergency. So I just kind of ignore them and go about my business. Once in a while, they'll notice that I see them and, telepathically tell me, they're not happy that, I'm not interacting with them. But if I'm not working, I just try to ignore them as best that I can.
Wow. So before we go into the relationship, I've got one more question. So what is energy? Like
Everything is energy.
yeah,
Everything in the universe is energy.
but
Everything.
like you make it sound so normal. Like also when you speak about meditation, obviously you had this near-death experience and you had this gift from childhood onwards. And then through the meditation, you must have unblocked something or whatever you want to call it. And everything was right there again, like all your gift and all your magic. My experience and lots of my listeners' experience is that meditation actually doesn't come so easy, and that it
It
takes some
doesn't.
time to actually tune into our energy, or in general the energy that
So let
surrounds
me
us.
try and
There is
explain it so it's easier
yeah
for everybody a little
yeah
bit. So we are not the suit that sits here. We are the energetic soul that's inside, okay? And our soul is way too big for this body. Some of it's in our body, some of it's over our head that people see as an aura. And the majority of our soul is actually in the lowest level of heaven, that fifth dimension. And it orchestrates the timing of all the events that happen in our life. But your soul also has, the soul that's in the fifth dimension has all the knowledge of all your lifetimes. It has everything. It knows the plan for here as well. So when you're meditating, first of all, everyone, I was the first one to say, I can't meditate. I've got too much going on. Okay. That's why I say it's cumulative. And we're here playing a role in a 3D body. This is 3D that we're in. When you go to sleep at night, your vibration actually rises and your dream state is actually 4D. And then 5D is the lowest level of heaven. So if they're trying to visit you from the other side and it feels real and you wake up right away and remember everything, that's not a dream, that's a visit. Okay. So if you're meditating properly during the day, when we pray, we're asking, when we meditate, we get our answers. And when you're starting out, it can literally take you 18 to 19 minutes to get out of your head and connect with your soul. Okay. So in this body, we have a brain. Our brain is a computer, but it also has a specific job. Your brain's job is to protect you. How does it do that? It does it by creating fear. So people make their decisions in this life based on fear. And when you do that, it's a crapshoot. It's 50-50. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you're always questioning your decision. Everyone's had something happen in their life that they had to make a decision where they just knew it was the right thing. They didn't think it through, they just did it, and it worked out fine. And that's your soul. When you get in touch with your soul and you learn how to listen and make those decisions from that knowing, you're always going to make the right decision 100% of the time, and you don't have to waste your time questioning it because you know it's the right decision. So I recommend people starting out meditate 3 times a day for 20 minutes, no more, no less. When you start meditating for more than 20 minutes and you're not experienced, more of your soul leaves your body and it's more difficult to retrieve it. So you end up ungrounded and literally an airhead. Okay. I burned a whole batch of meatballs in my oven because I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't grounded properly and didn't even realize they were in there. I'm like, oh, I didn't shut the oven off. Oh, I never took them out. This was after meditating for an hour because I didn't set a timer. So when you're first starting out, it can take you 18 to 19 minutes to connect with your soul. And when you do, you'll feel it because it's a real high, euphoric feeling when you connect with your soul. And that's connecting not just the part that's in your body, but the majority of your soul that's in the fifth dimension. And that's why it's so euphoric, because the vibration is so high. So when you think of quantum physics and the speed of light is over 300 million miles a second. And like when I died and I went into that light, that's how fast my soul was traveling. And then it came back into my body at that speed. So this is how fast they're traveling on the other side. And when you're connecting with that part of your soul that's traveling that high, this is why it raises your vibration exponentially in your own body. And this is why the trick is to learn how to balance your energy after you raise your vibration. That's the trick, to maintain it, to maintain that high vibration.
So would you say that soul and intuition is the same thing or on the same
Yes.
frequency?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the intuition is just another name for tapping into your psychic ability, which is coming from your soul.
And can you describe the way you meditate? Is there a special way you meditate, or what kind of meditation do you practice?
So there is, and I feel it's so important that I put the directions in every one of my books, and I recommend people read it verbatim until they can memorize it. But people should be sitting up straight. They should be having their feet on the floor and their hands open, not arms crossed, because you're, protecting yourself in that mode. And, when you're first starting out, honestly, I recommend people try doing a guided meditation for a week, only a week. That's it. That way you can really see what it's like to kind of get out of your head a little bit and shut it off a little bit. Then find yourself some soft music after that. Get away from the guided meditation. And then you want to protect yourself with Archangel Michael. There's a prayer that I say prior to protect yourself. Because when you're opening yourself up to the universe, you're opening yourself up to good and evil both. And if you're pure of heart, you're a target for evil. Because that's the whole war going on in the world, is good versus evil. And the prize is your soul. Believe it or not, that's what it's all about. So you have to really protect yourself. And then I call in all the angels, archangels, any other higher vibrational entities to give me information. And then anytime something comes into your head, if I start thinking about, oh, I got an appointment, oh, I got to start cooking, I just visually see it go by and just tune back into the music a little bit. And then start looking at the darkness in front of you with your eyes closed and find that pinpoint of light. There's always a pinpoint of light. And focus on that. And as you do that, you'll start seeing faces, you'll start seeing all kinds of things in your meditation, and you'll start letting go easier and easier. The effects are cumulative. Every time you do it, it gets easier and easier. If you're faithful to it, I tell people it's like brushing your teeth. You don't walk out the door in the morning without brushing your teeth. You should start your day off with a 20-minute meditation because it sets the tone for your day. This is what it actually does. And it raises your vibration so that they can, you may not get your answers during your meditation, but you'll find that your ears will start ringing. That's a download to your brain from information from your soul. And you'll find that the answers will start popping into your head during the day when you're just not even paying attention.
To me, obviously, I'm at a different stage of meditation than you are, but to me, meditating just always feels like coming home and coming to a place of love and calm and ease. And that's just so beautiful. It's just the most special place to be at.
Yep.
I
And
quite like,
once you get really good at it, I mean, you know, and you're comfortable and you're familiar with being grounded, then you can start doing these longer meditations. But, you know, if you're doing a 30-minute or a 45-minute, you're going to astral project. If that's what you want to do, that's great. You know, there's
yeah.
lots of things you can do for meditation. More of your soul leaves your body. You can go forward in time, back in time. It's amazing.
Sounds so easy when you say it. I love it. Okay, let's go a little bit into the relationship part. So you are a relationship coach. Is that the right title?
I'm a relationship expert.
Oh,
Yeah, I give
excuse me.
advice as well as I've created the relationship mastery program, which is a 7-week program that's actually self-guided. You
Amazing.
just have to go through all the work. Yeah.
Okay, so for whom is this program really, or yeah,
So I originally geared it towards people that were having issues with marriage or relationships because I felt that they were the ones that were most um, motivated, if they're going to lose everything, to actually invest in themselves and do the work. Other people aren't so motivated. If you're just looking for a boyfriend, oh, I don't know, maybe he'll come around. But if you do the program and you do the work, I had one woman do it. She ended up with 5 marriage proposals in like 6 months. It's unbelievable because what I do is I teach people how energy works, how to change your energy and raise your vibration, how the universe really works, how to work with the angels and your guides on the other side and understand how to talk to them because they talk in binary code and numbers. And if you don't know, you have no idea. And then I teach them how to raise their vibration, have the law of attraction kick in and balance their energy so that they can maintain it. And it doesn't just change, you know, it changes your whole entire life. Um, I have videos and testimonials from hundreds of students on my website. You know, people that one guy in particular who came out of prison and lost everything. And his wife divorced him. His kids wouldn't talk to him. His friends shunned him. He owned a farm and came on hard times and was selling off other people's cattle that he didn't own. And he came out of prison ready to take his life. And I just popped up on his computer. He scheduled a call and he did the program. And it changed his life 100%. Within a year, he had written a book about his life and what happened. He always wanted to get into the restaurant business, so he started a food truck. Then he ended up with a restaurant attached to the food truck. And his kids came back. All his friends came back because he explained why it happened to him. And he started making payments and paying everyone back. And then he finally started dating his wife.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yep, she was the last straw. It took a couple years for her to come around, but yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
but everything you want will bring you.
Yeah, I have no doubt, and I couldn't agree more that it's all about energy and your own vibrations. And all of what you've just described is in this one course that you were talking about, or do you have other
Yep.
offers?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, you can make or break anything in your life in 6 weeks. It doesn't take 6 months or 6 years. And that's because it rewires your brain.
Yeah.
Okay. You have people that get in car accidents and can't walk and can't talk and go into rehab and come out in 6 months and they can walk and talk again. Your brain is a wonderful thing. It rewires all those bad circuits. So you can unlearn and relearn how things really work. And it's absolutely amazing. And then it's like anything else though, if you stop doing it, everything goes back to where it was. You have to maintain, so when the universe rewards you for doing the work, if you don't appreciate it, it gives you a one swift kick in the butt.
Mm.
That's how it works. It's a lifestyle change basically. And
Mm.
it's about being grateful. You know, the more grateful you are, the more the universe will just keep on giving it to you because they like to see you happy. They want to see you fulfilled. That's why we're here. We're really not here to live a difficult life. We do that to ourselves.
Mm.
Nobody does that to us but us.
I've got another question. And what about, the stars, how they were aligned when we were born? Do you believe that, let's say someone was born and the stars aligned in a way that they have to go through these lessons, if this is the case, right? And yet they are extremely grateful. And does this mean they go in a more swift way through those lessons, or is it all about the
So I
energy
see it a
that
little
you
bit
bring?
differently.
Mhm.
I see it a little bit differently. We planned the life that we have here. We chose it.
Yeah.
Okay, we chose who's coming in our lives, excuse me, what we're going to do in our lives. We planned everything that happened in our life and the timing of it happening. The only control we really have in this lifetime is to delay the lessons that we came here to learn. We can delay them to the next lifetime if we choose, okay, depending on how stubborn we are. I believe that astrology, because I do astrology and numerology, they're there as guides. They're there to give us help. They're there to point us and help us on our path. Um, there is a lot to it. It's very complex and very complicated. And it's an art form to be able to actually read it all, which I do. I read what's called destiny cards, which is your regular deck of playing cards. But that's what our Gregorian calendar is based off of. So thousands of years ago, the Magi were the advisors to the rulers. They would tell them when to go to war and when to plant their crops. And they would use the cards. And our lives break down into 13-year cycles, 7-year cycles, 7-week cycles, 7-day cycles, and yearly cycles. And the deck of cards, your regular deck of cards, the book to read those was held by the Knights Templar for thousands of years, and it fell into the Catholic Church hands in the early 1800s. And they didn't want people understanding the importance of these cards, so they created the parlor games. But our Gregorian calendar was made from those cards. There's 52 cards in the deck, there's 52 weeks in the year. If you add them up numerically, they come to 364. If you add your joker in, which has a value of 1.25, you have your 365 days of the year and your leap year. You have 4 seasons, you have 4 suits. You have the red and the black that signify the day and the night. You have 13 court cards that signify the 13 moon cycles, and you have 12 cards in each suit, which signify the 12 months of the year. So when you're born with a birth card, a planetary ruling card, and a decante ruler, which is another planet that was in the sky when you were born. And to read these cards is amazing because everything happens in your life when it's supposed to happen.
Mm.
And it will tell you what the options are and what's coming up for you. And what happens in that cycle is really up to you. That's part of your choice, whether or not you choose to go that route or whether or not you choose to delay it a little bit longer with that lesson. So they're pretty amazing. And I've actually predicted 3 people's deaths within a few weeks from reading the cards. Pretty amazing stuff.
That would be pretty scary, I can imagine, for someone who might not be ready
Well,
to.
I don't tell people. That was for my
Okay.
own personal,
Okay.
use of
Yeah.
people that were in my life that were not well, and I wanted to know, and I was able to predict them within a few weeks.
But
But
you do
I've predicted births.
you do give those readings.
I do. Yep. They're
Yeah.
called the cards of the Magi, destiny cards. Yep. And there's a journal that I have also on my website that you can buy that tells you about the cards. And you can write your intentions in the journal every day, and it tells you about you on what card you're born under and what your traits are and things like that. Yeah, it's really interesting. I've been studying them for years. Yeah.
I love it. I feel it's so empowering. So for me, it's all about learning and understanding about myself and helping my clients to do the same so that they can empower themselves through their bodies, through their minds, through their emotions. And for me, whatever tool I can find that helps in this empowerment, in this understanding of who I am truly, not just this meat suit or, all these thoughts popping up, all these emotions. Yeah, I think that's very, very empowering. Where can we find you, your amazing cards, your amazing programs? Can you just spell out your website for us again,
Sure.
or
It's
wherever
my
else we can
name.
find you?
Yep, it's my name, June Edward with no S, JUNEEDWARD, very simple.com. There's videos you can watch. There's a free webinar you can sign up for that explains a little bit more about how energy works and talks a little bit about the relationship mastery program. If you think you'd be a good candidate, you can sign up for a call for that. You can schedule appointments with me online. I do destiny card readings. I do Akashic readings, which are people's past lives. If you're having issues in this life and want to know why, because we bring things through karmically from lifetime to lifetime. And this is what karma is. You know, if you have wronged someone in this lifetime and you have no remorse and you haven't made amends, then you're going to owe them something karmically in the next lifetime. And karma isn't necessarily negative, okay? So for instance, if you stole money from someone in a past lifetime, they may come back in this lifetime and be your boss and teach you how money works, not necessarily rob you, okay? Because they're always working for your highest and best. They're always trying to make you a better soul, okay? So a karmic relationship would be literally someone that either you owe someone something to or they owe you from a past lifetime. And you know it's a karmic relationship you're in because it never feels right. It always feels like there's something not right. You're waiting for the shoe to drop or you're looking for the red flags. And when one or the other of you finally learn the lesson that you're there to learn, it ends immediately. It's like you wake up one morning and you're like, why do I have this person in my life? I don't need this. I don't want them around me. And if you've both learned your lesson, you'll part amicably, but only if one or the other has learned the lesson, it will end, but it won't be amicable. That's what a karmic relationship is. And then there's a soulmate relationship, which everybody wants. Soulmates feel amazing. They're there to also teach you a lesson or you teach them, but they're there also to afford you some love and comfort along the way. And when you learn your lesson with a soulmate, it doesn't have to end right away. It really depends on what you wrote into your life plan. And then there's a twin flame relationship, which is extremely rare. There's too much misinformation on the internet and too many movies out there. So everybody thinks they have one and they don't. It's literally one soul that's split into two and reincarnated into two separate people here. And at a predetermined time, you will meet in this lifetime. It's always very sexual. It's extremely passionate. It's very, very intense. And it turns your entire world upside down and puts you on the path that you're supposed to be on in this world. And if you're both able to learn the 5 soul lessons that you're here for and get on your path, because you have a higher path than anyone else. You're here to help everyone else. You're here to help all the other people here. If you can both get on that path, you'll have an opportunity to get back together in this lifetime. Otherwise, you have to wait to the other side again. And most of them don't get back together in this lifetime. And anyone else that you're with after that, you're just settling. Most people end up staying alone after they've met their twin flame if they don't get back together. It's heartbreaking. It's a very heartbreaking relationship.
I've got so many questions about what you've just said, but I feel for today's interview, because I could speak to you forever. You're just such full of so much wisdom and knowledge. It's amazing. So I'll keep it very simple and we'll just ask a few things about relationship, because I feel this is such an important topic. And then please, dear June, come back to another interview so we can dive deeper into relationships and all of what you've just said. Like, okay, yeah, have heard that before, hearing this all the time. I'm sure my audience as well know. This, like, to me, lots of things that you are saying are new or a new concept. Like, they feel right and true and coming from a deep knowing, but it's not that I've heard them in that way before. So I would love to, dive deeper into this. But for today, so how or when did you decide to really dive deeper into relationships and help others with that? So I believe it's come from your own journey because you had this karmic relationship. But when did you, or did it just happen and you empowered others through it? Just talk us a little bit through your journey here.
So again, everything in life happens the way it's supposed to, and everybody can look back on their life and see the breadcrumbs and how everything led to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, right? So when you're in touch with your soul and you're listening and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing because you have that knowing, you just do it and it takes you down a path. So when my abilities first opened up, I started doing readings for people. Everybody wants to know about relationships. Okay. I started a Facebook group to help people with advice on relationships, which it just blew up. Then I heard that I'm supposed to film videos on relationships. I'm like, oh, okay. So I sat down and I scripted out everything for 10 videos on marriage, divorce, blended families, retirement, aging parents, all this. And I literally hired a professional camera crew and a studio, and I filmed 10 videos and a couple of commercials for them. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these now. Sell them on Facebook? I have no clue. Put them on the website? I don't know. All I know is I was supposed to do this, right? So I did it. Fast forward about a year, maybe a year and a half. No, about a year, I guess. I hear that I've got to do a program to help people. I'm like, program? Okay, a program. Okay. So boom, they'll take you where you're supposed to be. And I found the right people to help me make a program to do all the technical stuff. So the angels guided me to put this program together, literally. And all of the videos that I filmed just slid right into the program. And it's interesting because if you do the program the way it's laid out in the exact order in a timely manner, your energy shifts, you balance. It's amazing. If you don't and you skip around, it doesn't work. Your energy doesn't shift. You have to start the program again from the beginning. So I have had students have had to do the program 2 and 3 times because they're not doing it in order and they're not actually doing the work. There's about 2 hours worth of work every day that you have to do in order to progress in the program and get the week's worth of work done at the end of the week. And it took me a year and a half, literally, to get all of the technical stuff together because I'm not computer savvy. And, I had to go through how to set up the application, how to set up the scheduling, how to set up, the program itself for the modules to release. All of this stuff I had to learn how to do. And that was very challenging for me, but I got it done. I did it. So that was the reason. And then from putting hundreds of people through the program, I work with one person in the relationship. I don't do couples. Couples don't work. It only takes one person to make or break a relationship because for every action, there's equal or greater reaction. And when you change, everything around you changes. So the progression of the program was someone would do the program. Their significant other was so blown away with the results of that person and how everything, the dynamic of the relationship changed. They want to know why. So I allow them to teach them the program. They can't have access to it, but they can teach them what I taught them. And now I have people teaching their children and sending me videos that they've taught their children the program so that they don't have to go through the struggles that they did as an adult. So it's amazing. And from running hundreds of people through that program, I learned that we're all doing the same 5 lessons. Everyone is. And that was why I wrote the book, All's Fair in Love and Karma. It's a result of the Relationship Mastery Program. Why we're in the relationships we're in, why we do what we do, why we can't hang on to money, all of those things.
Beautiful. I love it. I would love to hear more about your book and especially where can we find it. But I wanted to say, I feel that, this amazing program that you have created for relationships, it's truly, you could use it for anything in life, like whatever you want to change and uplift. Yes,
I have people
can
use
be
me
relationships, but I feel, It could be
Yeah.
something else as well. It's like it would do the
Well,
same
everything
magic.
is a
Yeah.
relationship. Everything is a
Yeah.
relationship. You're in a relationship with your children, your parents, your coworkers, your friends, your family. It's all relationship
Your
based.
business, money. Yeah.
Everything. Yep.
Yeah.
So now I have people that want to improve their businesses actually doing it so that they understand how energy works and
Yeah.
improving that. Yeah, it's
Because
amazing.
everything is energy. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So when did you write this amazing book?
I wrote that around June of last year.
Wow,
Yep.
beautiful.
Yep. It's an
And
award-winning book, bestseller. So it's in all the bookstores, it's on Amazon, and there's links to all of my books on my website.
it
Easier to find
looks
them that way.
it looks already very beautiful. It has something, yeah, very attractive and special to it. So I can't wait to get my hands on it and to dive into this beautiful book. To wrap it up for today, and I know there would have been so much more we could have talked about, and we will hopefully at some point, but could you please give my audience just 3 golden nuggets to kind of sum up whatever you want to give them so they remember you and, yeah, your magic?
So one of the first things that I can recommend for them in any of their relationships to try is to stop asking questions, because questions trigger people. And it could be as simple as, hey, how was your day? And if they're not having a good day, they're just going to go off on you. And if you put it into a statement instead of a question and just say, hey, I hope you had a good day today, they have to stop and think about that for a second. Oh, he hopes I had a good day. Did I have a good day? Well, it wasn't as good as I wanted, but it changes the whole dynamic when you do that. So that's something that people can try, and it will really help their relationships a little bit. And the other thing that there's 2 other things that I want to say to people. First of all, we forget that we're really here to help each other. No one's an island. No one ever got where they're supposed to be getting in life by themselves. You didn't build your own business. You didn't build your own house. You don't grow and pick all your own food, unless you're a farmer. And even at that, I'm sure you're buying something somewhere. So it takes everyone everywhere, and we're all here to help each other. And people forget that, especially with, the invention of the internet, where people can, hide behind anonymous nastiness. And, it takes nothing to be kind to someone. It costs you nothing, absolutely nothing. And you could make the biggest difference in their day, in their world. It's incredible. And the third thing is to remember that we all also need human contact and touch. And as people get older and they age out, they get less and less of that physical contact from other people. So if you see an old person around, give them a hug. Your parents, give them a hug. There's nothing more heartwarming and nothing that's going to connect you more than that, that intimate bodily contact. We need that as human beings.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, dear June. This has been beyond amazing. I am so grateful for you, for the amazing work that you do, for your gifts, and for allowing them to come through. You could have also decided to block them, or you could have decided to stay at the other side. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for your amazing book, for your programs. I am, just touched by your work, touched by you. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Keep glowing. If you love and enjoy my podcast, then please do me a favor and help me to make our world a healthier, happier place. And you can do so by sharing my podcast, this episode, with just one friend, with one person who you believe would absolutely benefit from this episode, or in general from my podcast. I know that you were born to live your best life, to feel absolutely amazing in your precious body, your brilliant mind, and your boundless soul. So what are you still waiting for? Please make sure you do. I'm your biggest cheerleader. I believe in you. Keep glowing. Much love.